Good evening! Welcome to the Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast, the official podcast of the Final Fantasy Wiki. That's the whole story, right, SomeColorMage?
Yeah, I like, unless you want to come up with some epic backstory for it, I think that's everything.
An epic backstory, you ask? Alright.
Yes.
Okay, alright, this sounds like a story prompt, so, give me 3 details. Give me 3 objects, and I'll see if I can come up with a story with this.
Fuck, I didn't have any details prepared.
You don't have any details? Just any random objects. We'll see if we can come up with a grandiose backstory. I'm BlueHighwind, by the way. I host this thing.
Yeah, and I'm SomeColorMage, I guess. So, 3 objects. Well, first, this is, about the Wiki podcast, so clearly there's a wiki.
There is a wiki, yes.
And, yeah. And you talk about OBS a lot, so I guess there's that.
OBS, alright.
Third thing.
You're not making this easy. If you had picked a toaster, I think it would be easier to work with than OBS.
Well, there you go, a toaster.
Okay. This goes back. I realize now that toaster is like one of those stock random words that are in the back of my mind, because I did a Let's Play many years ago, and like I needed a random word to keep saying, and I started saying toaster a lot. Anyway, okay. So, once upon a time, there was a magical toaster. It was the king of all toasters, and it demanded that the Final Fantasy Wiki do a podcast, because the evil OBS Empire had kidnapped his daughter, Princess Toastsalot. Princess Toastsalot was beautiful and fair, and only lightly toasted, while her father was very deeply toasted. There's actually a very complicated racial dynamic in the toaster universe, which I now regret setting up in my story. So I'm gonna retcon all of that. Let's cut that detail completely. Okay. And she got kidnapped by the OBS Empire, and the OBS Empire told the King Toaster that he will murder and devour the daughter with jam if the Final Fantasy Wiki does not do a podcast once a month. And that's how the whole thing started, because we're big friends of King Toaster.
Yay.
Yay! Alright, was all that worth it? All that setup?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I mean, we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot this month. We need as much filler as possible.
I don't know. We need filler. Like we could do a straight to the point episode, but I think we need an exercise to get us in the podcasting vibe. I think, and I think that worked pretty well. So it's February 2023, right? 2023. Yes. Okay, it's that period at the start of the year when I'm still writing 2022 on everything.
Right.
And you think I'd be able to get over that, considering my job is all about dates all the time, but I still write 2022 sometimes. So, in the month of February 2022, basically nothing happened with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, not a lot. This is just a whole month of waiting for the one release.
Yeah, I mean, that release came out, and from all reports is a very good game, but like there were big industry events, like Nintendo had their showcase for the first half of 2023, and I don't think there was a single Square Enix object in that entire show. Am I correct?
No, there's...
Oh, Octopath 2.
Oh yeah, Octopath 2, which I think is now out, and I haven't touched, and like the only thing I've heard is to like double down on everything. So yeah, if you wanted the party members to interact with each other, guess you're shit out of luck again.
I actually heard the opposite. Jason Schreier on
really?
on the Triple Click podcast. Did I say that right? Triple Click? I don't know what I said. I think I said it wrong, but I'm going to say it right again. Triple Click. He said that it was a much better game than the first one and was improving all the issues. It was not just you do the exact same thing over and over again 32 times. But
well, granted, I did hear that of the demo, so it would only be like people in the first chapter when there wouldn't be much character moments. So, yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to be able to play that game, because when I think back to Octopath 1, my memory of that game is nothing. It is a complete gray fog. I don't remember any characters, any events, any locations. I just remember the HD 2D effect, and I remember, in retrospect, that game was extremely boring.
Yeah, it's a pretty game, but doesn't have much substance to it.
I also think that if you want a game about 8 different characters having 8 very distinct JRPG adventures, there's a game out there, and it's really been with us this entire time, we just didn't know it, and it's called Live Alive. And it is fucking amazing. Some might say it was the, I think the 3rd best game of 2022?
I think that was where it was on your list.
No, it's actually the 4th best game of 2022.
4th.
Self-promotion, guys. Go to bluehighwind.blogspot.com. The last blog spot. The last blog spot. And you will find my top 10 list of video games. And Live Alive made number 4. And what made number 1? I don't know. You'll just have to go and click to find out. Where did Elden Ring end up? I can tell you right now, it wasn't on the list because I didn't play that game. All right. I feel like
fair enough.
I feel like we meandered a lot from where we were. Where were we?
I think we were still doing the intro.
No, I think we were talking about what news there was and how there really wasn't any. Is that where we were?
Yeah. I mean, that's something I thought was still the intro, but yes, there just really wasn't anything happening this month. I mean, you already checked Nova Crystallis before we recorded this, started recording this, but yeah, just what is there? Okay, so like, yeah, there's the Power Wash Simulator thing.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it then. All right, well, to finish my point, it was like Nintendo had their big direct. Basically no Square Enix stuff there. Yesterday, at the time of this recording, Sony had their PlayStation Direct, whatever they call it, and no Square Enix thing there.
State of Play.
State of Play, yes. Nothing Square Enix there. Nothing Final
Also,
Fantasy.
that State of Play was incredibly fucking boring in general. That was...
Disagree.
Like, if it wasn't for Capcom's bit in the middle there, where they showed off more Street Fighter 6 and Resident Evil 4 remake, that would have been horrible.
I liked some of the stuff. I like Goodbye Volcano High. That game, as it turns out, I am deeply weak to on every level. I like dinosaurs. I like indie rock. I like Life is Strange-esque teenager angst. Yeah, teenager angst, and I play Final Fantasy games. I can't see how those two things are connected at all. And then there was Tichia. Is that how you say that game's name? How do you say that?
I don't know.
It's a Tchia.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
It's like a Wind Waker-esque game. It's inspired by the island in the South Pacific, New Caledonia, which I guess you'd be more familiar than I would be, because it's in your hemisphere. Then
I'm not that familiar with New Caledonia. No.
All right. I guess I'm assuming some things. It'd be like, you would look on a map and be like, well, you must really know Nova Scotia, because it's somewhere geographically close to you, and I don't really know anything about Nova Scotia. One other thing. Everybody hates the new Arkham game. What's it called? Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, and I think it looks okay.
I mean, it looks like a fucking live service game, and like these past few months have been a wasteland of dead and dying live services. There's no faith in that model anymore. If there even was ever any faith in it to begin with, because like the only the only things of the live service model that actually work are like traditional MMOs and fucking Destiny 2.
And Borderlands, I guess. I think. Borderlands is kind of in the same vague kind of territory. Where, you know what, speaking of Borderlands, I interviewed Randy Pitchford many, many years ago at PAX East. And this was for their terrible Overwatch, kind of like, what was that thing called? Battleborn.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that game sucked, but, I remember I was talking to him, and I'm like, okay, I get the shooting, I get the matches, I get the characters. The loot element, though, what is the point of the loot? And, like, he's like, well, loot. People love getting loot. And I'm like, I don't care about loot at all. I didn't want to say that to him because I don't want to be mean. But I'm like, what? So why do what I want loot? And he's like, because of loot. And, like, it just felt like we were talking past each other. Like, yeah, what do I do with the loot? Why do I want to do this?
The reality of those fucking random loot systems is that most of the shit they put on it isn't interesting. Like, it'll be like a plus 2% to some specific circumstance. Fuck off. Like, you've either got to have it, really simple, this thing increases your power by this much, or you go all out like Diablo 2 and just give every item like a dozen special effects that are all very, very certain. This increases this ability. No, this increases range damage while you're looking away from the TV on a full moon type shit.
Or we have 3 colors of damage, and this one increases purple damage.
Yeah, it's just that there's no enjoyment of it because not only is it not obvious if what you've got is an improvement, even if you got some dumb gear score or DPS or something. Like, it's just boring.
Yeah, even games I like God of War, not 2 because I didn't play that one, but the last God of War game, the one that came out like 2018.
Yeah, you mean the 2018 and Ragnarok.
Technically, God of War 4, and the newest one is God of War 5. But they don't use numbers anymore because that'd be easy for people to figure out. No, but that game had like a loot score thing. And I remember thinking the economy was so weird in that game because it was like you had to increase your gauntlet the slightest bit, and that would increase your overall equipment level. And by doing that, suddenly I could survive fights that I couldn't before. And all I did was just make a gauntlet on my arm, like, go up, like, 2 stages. And somehow that affected the entire thing. It was weird. It was not fun. Let's hope that Final Fantasy 16 does not have that stuff. And to almost get back on topic, Forspoken does have all this stuff. And I've generally been ignoring all of it. But I also have not played any Forspoken this month, so that's all we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It was on my TV stand here. I'm looking at Ella Belinsky. The PlayStation 5 jewel case is getting increasingly dusty, and I have not been able to bring myself to play it because I've had other things to do. Anyway, I feel like we still have not started after all this time. Okay, so the Sony event happened, and there was no Square Enix news. PlayStation VR 2 happened, and there's no Square Enix news there either.
Except that's not even backwards compatible, is it?
No, it is not.
Like, you can't play VR 1 games on it. So, yeah, there was one Final Fantasy VR 1 game. It was a Final Fantasy 15 fishing spin-off. Can't play that on the VR 2.
Can you play that on, like, any of the other VR things? Or are you just completely boned? You gotta play it on PlayStation 4 VR.
I believe it was, PSVR exclusive.
I wonder if anyone went through the trouble of doing the work to make that game playable on other stuff. I'm betting they did not. I feel like there's two circles in the world, and there's Final Fantasy fans, and there's VR weirdos. And not to say that Final Fantasy people are not weirdos too, but they are completely different kinds of weirdos, and there's not a lot of overlap between those two circles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want any VR thing. Like, I don't know what, like, I don't have a lot of room for it.
No, I'm very boring and traditional when it comes to my video game tastes. And I've tried out all the VR things, and the only one I liked at all was playing Thumper in VR. And that was just a regular old game. All it did was just kind of make the effects 3D. I mean, it was awesome and intense, because it was like, you got your headphones in, and like this sense that all the concussion was happening all around you, and the little beetle guy was getting smashed. It was awesome, but it was also like, I don't need to play this in VR. And VR has added nothing to this experience. Anyway, let's do the news, as much of it as there is. So you were talking about Power Wash Simulator. Have you played that at all?
Yes, actually.
How is it?
It is actually quite relaxing. Like, it sounds like a dumb main game, and in a sense it kind of is, but at the same time there's just something oddly satisfying about it.
I imagine it is, because I've enjoyed doing dishes just because of getting the grime off of shit. I've never actually played with a power washer, but I've watched the YouTube videos of people doing it, and it does look amazing. So did you ever at any point while playing that think, you know what, I'd really like to be in Midgard doing this right now?
I didn't specifically think that, but now that the question has come up, it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, so Square Enix Collective is specifically who's named here. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to look into what that is, but
I think that was their. I believe that was like their. You put something. You pitch us ideas, and we help with crowdfunding type thing.
It's apparently their UK stuff. I don't know what they've ever published though, other than this. This is the first time I've ever heard. All right, they have done some stuff. They did a horror RPG called Little Goody Two Shoes, something called Circuit Superstars, the Turing Test they were involved in a little bit. All right, they've been doing things. Forgotten Anne, which I think isn't that a Tokyo RPG Factory game? Forgotten Anne, I don't remember. Anyway, well, Power Wash Simulator, it's got a Final Fantasy DLC coming out. I don't know when.
There's a review for it at the top of Nova Crystal, so it might be out.
I guess it's coming out very soon then. Oh, it's supposed to release? No, this is the game itself. I imagine you're just cleaning like Cloud's bike. That's what's in the picture here, or the car. It is not doing what I'd want, which would be a. Sorry, yeah.
There is a Scorpion Sentinel here.
Oh, all right, that's cool. What I was gonna say is what I'd want would be a heavily physics-based simulator where I get to shampoo Sephiroth's hair. Really use that hair physics stuff from Tomb Raider 10 years ago. I know Square Enix still has that somewhere. Alright. Next news report. Final Fantasy X. It's a kabuki theater thing now. I don't...
Oh, right. That's that thing.
Yeah, there was a trailer that came out. You could see the actress or actor. I'm not sure if... I remember traditionally kabuki's all male. I don't know if that's still the case anymore. I imagine not. But the kabuki stage play will be coming out March 4th through April 12th in Tokyo, which means none of us will be able to see it.
Right.
There is a key artwork. I'm gonna go share it here. Maybe you can go take a look at that and let's see if we can get your opinion. And there. They look like the Final Fantasy X people.
Who's at the top right?
I'm not sure. I'm imagining that's the High Yevon guy. Like the Pope guy.
Right,
I don't remember his name.
That's probably one of the maesters. Yeah, I just can't think of which one.
Grand Maester. I don't remember his name. It really. They all kind of just look like the characters, except for it looks like the ones that got most stylized were Riku and Lulu.
Also, wow, Kamari really was not intended to have a human face.
I think that's Yunalesca on the right, with purple hair.
Yeah, she's on the middle right. Is that Owaka in the middle left?
In the middle left? I'm guessing, yeah. I'm surprised how many maesters made it in here. Of all the characters I think you could cut from Final Fantasy X, I would not have brought every single maester in there. Oh, and I guess that's Braska on top left, too. Nobody can see what we're looking at, so it's kind of useless at this point. This is riveting radio. So I would really like to see this. I've never actually seen any kabuki theater, and I know very little about it, as you can probably tell. But this is not going to happen. So, they have a whole cast list here. Nakamura Shido II is Orin. Are you a big fan of Nakamura Shido II?
Sure. Good man.
Yonekichi Nakamura V is going to be Yuna. I'm going to look up who that is, and maybe it'll fill in my question as to whether or not they even have male actors. It's not working. Whatever. All right, so that's a cool and interesting thing, and I'm glad it's happening. Let's see. Square Enix had another financial report that came out February 3rd. The sales were down 6.6%. Operating income was down 17.6%. And they managed to get the profit was overall positive. I think that's because of them selling Crystal Dynamics Eidos Montreal to Embracer.
Yeah. But what were last year's big releases? Like, I'm trying to.
They released a crap ton of games, but not any like big AAA games. They released Triangle Strategy.
I'm trying to think if they put out anything bigger than Stranger of Paradise.
Stranger of Paradise, I think, was their biggest game. They had a Final Fantasy XIV DLC, which I think is a big deal.
That was December 2021.
No, that wasn't there. That was just like a mid thing. Sorry. Yeah, I have my time all mixed up. That was like 14.7.3, right? That came out in December?
December 2021 was 6.0.
6.0. All right, I have my years completely mixed up. I'm not good with Final Fantasy 14.
7 point anything not happening until next year. Okay. Like 7.0 will most likely be revealed on. I have the date for this somewhere because it's something that came up when talking about the investment thing. The investor report. Yeah, the 7.0 reveal is probably going to be July 28.
Yeah.
It's not happening this year. The report explicitly says it's not happening this year. That was obvious to people who followed the game because FanFest, which is the big thing, the big major tour for the expansion and stuff. Japan, the first of that in this circuit, this cycle, is the July 28 one, but the final one is not until early 2024, so the expansion won't be out before then.
Okay. So last year,
what some reporters said and claimed that this meant Final Fantasy 14 was over, that is not the case and was just someone who can't fucking read.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 is not ending probably ever at this point.
Yeah.
It is the last MMO that means anything at all anymore. So I think I think that game is going to be fine for probably much longer than you want it to be around. Yeah, last year they released Live Alive. They released Tactics Ogre Remaster. That yeah, they just released a bunch of like B games. They released like a ton of them, like one a month. But you know, like Triangle Strategy is not going to do the sales that even disappointing sales games like Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, that did not do the numbers they wanted it to, but that's going to do more numbers than Triangle Strategy did, I think.
Yeah, all they really needed to do was just hold on for the year, and they have, because 16 is out middle of this year.
Yes.
7 Rebirth is out either very end of this year or beginning of next year. And when 7 Remake came out, that was the first quarter they've had in a long time where their console game divisions managed to pull out a bigger profit than all the mobile stuff. So yes, they are definitely expecting these to make tons of bank.
Yeah, I imagine that 7 Rebirth is going to be a profitable enterprise. And then Kingdom Hearts 4, hopefully, will be out in 2024 or something. I would like to play another Kingdom Hearts game. That stupid mobile game that looks awful, Missing Link, should be out sometime this year.
Yeah, I thought that was already supposed to be in testing, but I haven't actually heard anything from that.
It might be in testing in, like, only Japan, or you gotta know somebody, that kind of deal. Or I think that's coming in a few months. I don't know. I'm not down for that game at all. Personally, I think it looks awful. But I will watch the monthly updates of that, like I did for Union X for a decade, and watch the story very slowly evolve, and then forget 90% of it.
Maybe this time we will not spend like 3 years in the Wreck-It Ralph world waiting for plot to actually happen.
Maybe this time we will not wait in a room where Maleficent goes into a pod, and then you have to wait 6 weeks before you find out what the hell that pod means. Like, it seriously was like 2 minutes of story every single month. It was excruciating.
Yeah, the best update of that game was the final one where they just dropped the entire plot of Dark Road at once.
Yeah.
And the game still sucked, but the story was at least interesting.
And it was a little tiny baby Xehanort. The best little sprite ever. Alright, and that's the news. That's everything, I think. Let me double check.
Right.
Oh, there's a rumor that the Final Fantasy Tactics team is incredibly busy at the moment, reports Nosy Pixel, which could mean anything at all.
What is the Final Fantasy Tactics team? Like...
well, I don't imagine there's much of them left anymore.
Matsuno is effectively freelance.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
This is just something... He has another company, but
really
I
do much.
Don't know if he does a lot with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what this thing's reporting, and this website has an anime girl that's clearly naked, winking at me, so I kind of don't want to look at this anymore. This game is Queen's Blade Limit Break. If you want to play that, that's our official sponsor of today's episode, Queen's Blade Limit Break. Do you like ecchi anime from 10 years ago? Play Queen's Blade Limit Break. Alright. So, this month there was a new Final Fantasy game. A giant chocobo laid an egg and out-hatched Theatrhythm. Final bar line. I'm saying that right. Theatrhythm?
I don't fucking know. I always pronounced it Theatrhythm because that's actually
Those are actually words, yes. But it is spelled like that. It's spelled Theatrhythm.
But yeah, it's not spelled with an so...
They're missing one. Theatrhythm Final Bar Line, which was released, I believe, for the PlayStation 4, 5, Switch, all the various things. Or
Yeah,
just just the 4.
4 and Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 and Switch.
Oh, not for PC. Oh well.
Yeah, they didn't put out a PC version.
Well, you know, it was just too awesome. The PC can't handle all the intensity of what's going on here. Or Square Enix is like weird about putting their music out on PC for some stupid reason.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that it's at least partially licensing bullshit. Because I mean, the deluxe edition thing that is mostly games that they would have to pay extra to put in the game in the first place, and like half of them you're not allowed to stream them. So
yeah,
there's definitely licensing snafus going on here.
I remember I did play the demo of this. I did not play the full thing, but I was looking through the menus, and there's a specific menu option where it talks to you about what you're allowed to stream, which is the first time I've ever seen anything like that in a video game.
Yeah, Square's actually somewhat on the ball about that, because like you know, a lot of like they don't do streamer mode type stuff, which is probably better overall, but they're usually pretty good at putting out a list of these songs are licensed. If you put them on Twitch, you will probably get in trouble and we can't help you. And they're usually fairly proactive in getting those out. Understandably, the streaming instructions for Stranger Paradise is you can air everything except for the scenes where we have Frank Sinatra music playing.
And did they actually use the real Frank Sinatra tracks?
Yes, it's the real Frank Sinatra version of My Way in the game.
Why would you pay for that? That's so expensive. You could just get a guy to go and do a Frank Sinatra impression, and you could go and save yourself so much money. I would much rather hear like a Japanese guy singing My Way than the real Frank Sinatra. Anyway, yeah, you know what? Square Enix pisses me off because there's no way to get the new version of Megalovania from Live Alive. Like, that's completely banned from YouTube. You cannot hear that. They will not allow anyone to post that.
That one really, really sucks. Square have definitely gotten a lot more restrictive on that stuff because they are uploading soundtracks to one of their own channels eventually now.
Yeah, but
so
they're
being a lot more proactive of taking out other uploads.
God, yeah, but they're taking for goddamn ever. And you know what? I would rather listen to it on Silva Gunner's channel, not that they exist anymore and have not existed in like 15 years. But I'd still rather listen to them there than at the official Square Enix channel. Let it be democratized. I believe in wikis, which fans sharing fan stuff with no expectation of capitalism coming in, except for the rather corrupt capitalist enterprise that owns us.
But at least Adblock works.
At least Adblock works, yes. Please go to the wiki with Adblock on. That is my official stance, because, God, going to it without Adblock is just unreadable, and there's nothing we can do about that. I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of the wiki.
Yeah, if you have an account, it turns off nearly all the ads, but it still keeps those fucking annoying top banners which push the entire fucking page down. So yeah, you block the shit out of them. We don't give a fuck. They don't give us any money.
Yeah. I don't need to see a video about Kang when I'm looking up Sephiroth's hair. Wikia, fandom, whatever. If you're listening, please stop doing that. That's like a 2016 thing. Anyway, Theatrhythm. SomeColorMage, you have bought this game, right?
Yes, I have Theatrhythm. It is very good. There is a hell of a lot of content in here. Basically, so far, all I've managed to do is just play every song on the lowest difficulty, and now I'm trying to get through the quests because the quests are a lot of the quests are extremely fucking difficult because, like, it'll be, you have to power through and kill all the bosses of this song, but also we've added extra modifiers to how the game mechanics work just to fuck you over. And God, some of those quests are absolutely brutal.
I guess we should do a quick overview of what this thing is, right? So this is a rhythm game where you play through all the music of practically the entirety of Square Enix's catalog, except for Dragon Quest and, unfortunately, no Terranigma. Sorry, Terranigma fans, you are not represented here. But this is also kind of a pseudo RPG system, which sometimes does matter for the quests, where you actually do build a party of basically every single Final Fantasy character that's ever been.
There's about, I think it's like 107 characters or something in there. Some of them are duplicates. Like there's 2 Clouds and there's 2 Tifa's and there's 2 Yunas and 2 Y'shtolas.
Yeah, it's not every single one, but there's a pretty damn deep roster here. Like Wall from Mobius Final Fantasy, he's in here. Fran from Final Fantasy 12. I guess she's not that deep, but like that's impressively deep.
You can actually play as a Chocobo now.
Yeah. Characters I have never even heard of. Cioran from Crystal Chronicles. He's in this. Do you know who? Have you ever heard of that? Who is that?
I have no fucking clue.
Okay. Benjamin from Mystic Quest is here.
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is that you're taking these characters along and they're having a JRPG battle with all the monsters, but that all seems like just background flavor to me, because what you really do is you hit the notes in time.
Yeah. Yeah, you can ignore that stuff entirely if you really want to. It's like all it's really getting you is a bunch of items, a few cosmetic rewards, and only cosmetic rewards for the Moogle. You get the you can like change your airship just by playing the game, and it'll just gradually unlock all of those. But yeah, there's Moogle outfits and then just items that feed further into the RPG mechanics, and also the collector cards. Some of them are only done from the quest, and so it's something you can ignore entirely if you really want to. You just have to just quickly go through the quests to unlock the songs, and you don't even need to clear the quests. You just need to finish the song, and that adds it to the song list.
Yeah, this is the third Theatrhythm game I forgot to mention. There was one on the 3D. Fifth? Wait.
There's the original. There's the original, then there's the iOS one with the same name, which we have listed as the same game, but they're really different. Okay. Then there's Curtain Call. Then there's the arcade game, All-Star Carnival. And then there's this.
Alright, so the first one, that came out on 3DS, right?
Yes.
Okay, then Curtain Call also came out on the 3DS?
Yes.
Then what was the fourth one?
All-Star Carnival, which was an arcade game.
And wow. Oh, I never even heard of that. Huh. Alright, so there's 5 of these.
Yeah,
already.
like this one is largely a home version of All-Star Carnival.
Oh, really?
Okay. Just deeper, because the arcade version didn't have the quest system, and like your characters' growths were fixed, and also this is the return of event stages. They were gone from All-Star Carnival, which is why a ton of the older EMS stages, the song is also available as a different kind of stage.
What event stages? That's the one where it's kind of a vertical view and like a cutscene plays.
Yeah, the cutscene ones.
All right. This is to me. I played the Kingdom Hearts version of this, which was Melody of Memories, and I thought that game ruled. I actually like that game a lot more than Theatrhythm, and I have not bought this game. I'm sorry to say. And I have 2 complaints. 2. Two of them. Number one, and this is the most important one, the bleeps and bloops of the notes playing makes the song completely unlistenable. Or like, if I buy this game, it is because I deeply love Final Fantasy music, and I want to hear the Final Fantasy V battle music as it sounded on the Super Nintendo, and it does sound great here. The only problem is that every single time I hit the chime or whatever, it's like I can't hear the song anymore.
You can lower the volume of those, and also there are in the options there is the option to replace those sound effects with the ones from the 3DS games, which are a lot less excessive.
Okay. All right, maybe I should have done that. I didn't. I looked at the lowering the volume thing, and I lowered it like completely to the point that nothing I was doing had any connection to the song anymore, and that kind of alienated me even more so.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Well, then I put it on like really low, and also you played it all on easy, right?
I mean, I have been playing some stuff on the higher difficulties, but
okay.
Yeah, just to unlock everything, I did it on basic.
Yeah, I found that basic is like, you know, the whole thing is like abstracted, so you're not actually playing the song, but you're playing a version of the song as if you only had 4 notes. I don't know music all that well, so I can't really tell you specifics of this sort of thing. But when it's on easy, I find that nothing I'm doing has any connection to the actual music. It's not even like, it's barely on beat. It's not the same melody at all. So I just found that unplayable, and I immediately had to go to like hard, which is actually the second highest difficulty. No, that's the second lowest difficulty. There's easy, hard, and then 2 ludicrous modes that I didn't touch.
Yeah, it's like, but it's basic. It's like basic, extreme, ultimate, supreme.
Okay.
Which
I think I went to
extreme difficulty is fucking insane.
I don't know, it depends, I guess, how good you are at this, but I also found the demo was like super nice to me, because I could be like half a second off of the note and it was still letting it count. Alright, my other complaint is that the party system seemed like it had no connection to what I was doing, versus in actual Melody of Memories, you have Sora, Donald, and Goofy. In that specific order, you always say it's Sora, Donald, Goofy. They were on the thing, and they were actually hitting stuff, and it felt more connected, like it was an actual Kingdom Hearts battle with music. Where this is just like, it's a rhythm game, and there's Final Fantasy stuff happening, but I can't even look at it because I'm looking at the notes. But you've played this game, and you love it, so, you know.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't find the RPG stuff that important, but at the same time, like, the base mechanics haven't changed much since the 3DS version, so I actually know the importance of party slots and stuff, like, because they were a lot more upfront about that in the 3DS version. Like, you know how the battle songs have the 4 lanes.
Yeah.
Each lane corresponds to a specific party slot, and like in the 3DS versions, they actually lined up like that. You know, like an old SNES era battle scene, and they'd stand behind the marker that actually causes them to attack. But that's not in this one. That's it's a bit more freeform in nature.
Yeah,
there's also the fact that there's abilities always ignored that. So like when you charge up one of those abilities, it just goes off instantly, regardless of whose turn it is. That's always been the case. In I believe they've changed how the field songs work a bit, because like in field songs, what happened in the 3DS games is that originally, that at the start of the song, only a party leader mattered for like their agility and stuff. But if you screwed up a note, they'd trip, and then the next party member would come in to replace them, and then it's their stats that come into effect and stuff like that. I don't think that's how it works in this one, because there are battles in the field songs now. Yeah, and it's always the whole party.
Yeah, the only thing that field songs seem to do now is that it does that thing where you have to, the note like goes up and down. And for whatever reason, they do not have touchscreen controls on the Switch version. Even though the Switch has a touchscreen, I don't know why you wouldn't use it, but it's not allowed. And you have to like go up and down manually with like the D-pad. That seems to be the only difference. So it's like, I didn't see any real difference between these field stages or the battle stages. It was just what's happening in the background.
Yeah, not in this version. They don't feel much difference, which is why I don't get why multiplayer is still restricted to battle songs only.
Yeah, I'll also say one other thing is that in the Kingdom Hearts game, and in this game too, actually, you have any button can work for any note. So either A, or I think all the face buttons can work, and the 2 shoulder buttons. Maybe even all 4 shoulder buttons. They all can work for any note. And I
think the D-pad even works.
Yeah, the only time... No, I think you need the D-pad for when it's pointing. Like, there's certain notes that you've got to go hit A and go down.
Those use the sticks.
Oh, those only use the sticks.
I forget what the D-pad does now. I mean, I might also be thinking of another Square Enix-owned rhythm game that uses a very similar control scheme. Because this is a very common control scheme for Square Enix rhythm games on the Switch.
Yeah, I feel like they're all made probably by the same team. But my one complaint with this is that I was able on the Kingdom Hearts game to mentally map it out so that one character was L, one character was R, and one character was A. And I was able to make that work, and it felt more like a proper rhythm game by playing it that way. But this, because it's running left to right, nothing that my buttons seemed to connect. It just felt like I could just hit any button, and it never felt right. I don't know. I've felt kind of negative about this, which I don't want to be, because I think this is actually an extremely cool package, and I think it's great that Square Enix made this, just because of the sheer enormity of how much music is in here. Which is...
even the DLC lineup, which, so it's DLC, but that's insane. That's like nearly a third of the track list itself.
Yeah, our wiki, the Final Fantasy wiki, finalfantasy.fandom.com, if you don't know, lists that there's 385 songs at launch. There's 27 special songs, and
the digital deluxe bonus.
Yeah, and then it looks like the season passes contain 90 songs, and there's some other. So there's going to be 502 songs total from a vast enormity of Square Enix products, from Live Alive, basically every Final Fantasy game, even the crappy ones like Mobius and Mystic Quest, they're here.
Nier
so
we got the Final Fantasy ones, and then the DLC is going to be Saga, and but some of the Saga stuff is already out, and then there's Mana, and Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, The World Ends With You, the Nier series, Octopath Traveler, Live Alive, Xenogears.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, they actually want to remember Xenogears.
Yeah, it's amazing.
A couple of the DLC packs haven't been formally revealed yet, but one of them already leaked as being a Bravely Default pack.
Ooh, there's good music in Bravely Default.
Yeah.
Not in Bravely Second.
Another one.
Bravely Second has terrible music, but Bravely Default 1, that had great music in that.
Yeah, which leaves one DLC pack that is currently unconfirmed, but at the same time that they accidentally leaked the Bravely Default pack, like they had gone through the song list, and there was, this very conspicuous section with no data that had exactly the same number of songs as the final DLC pack, and was situated between Final Fantasy 15 and the spin-offs.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's very exciting.
So yes, that's and that's the final DLC pack that's coming out at the beginning of November, so it will have been plenty of time since that game, if it is indeed that game, has come out.
See, I did not know that. I thought all the DLC had already been announced, and for all I know, there could be Terranigma songs in here. Probably not.
They had announced 13 of the 15 DLC packs, but the other 2 they had at least been trying to keep secret.
Okay. Probably not Terranigma, because that was published by Enix, and nobody cares about Enix games anymore.
Yeah, the Theatrhythm games never seem to cover games that were just that were published by Enix pre-merger, except for one of the ones that, you know, there was a Theatrhythm Dragon Quest for the 3DS, which never came out outside of Japan.
That's a dick move. There's good Dragon Quest music. I mean, it's not stuff that I listen to by choice, like Final Fantasy music, but it is fun stuff to play during the game.
I mean, I think I know exactly why Theatrhythm Dragon Quest could have never come out outside of Japan, because the now dead former composer for the series was a massive racist.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He was like big time Japan did nothing wrong in World War II. He was one of those guys.
He was someone who was so absurdly homophobic that Square Enix once had to put out a statement saying, no, we don't agree with his views. What the hell is wrong with him?
Ooh, man. That's not cool, considering there are extremely great queer-coded characters in Dragon Quest XI. And that's not cool, dude, at all. The best Dragon Quest XI character is never explicitly called gay, but he is absolutely the gayest guy that has ever been, and he is maybe the best character in gaming history.
He is possibly one of the most camp people in video games, yes.
He creates a parade, and your character joins in it. He saves the world with the parade. And unfortunately, I've been vamping for a while because I can't remember his name. God damn it.
Was it Sylvando?
It was Sylvando. Thank you. Yes, Sylvando. He calls everybody darling.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Oh, you had a very particular party, SomeColorMage.
Oh, right, that thing I posted in the Discord server where when I was going through 10.2 songs, because 10.2 only gives you 3 characters, of course. It gives you Yuna number 2 and Riku and Pain.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's Final Fantasy X Yuna and Final Fantasy X-2 Yuna.
Yeah.
You get the Final Fantasy X Yuna if you want to summon things faster, and you get the Final Fantasy X-2 Yuna if you want to shoot things in the face.
Mm.
So I just put whoever I had with the lowest experience in the final slot. So I had, just finished. 10.2 is one of the easiest ones outside the stuff that's in the demo. So I just shoved X-Death in there.
So now X-Death is one of the girls.
Yeah.
Canonically, when you replay Final Fantasy X-2, Eureka, it's going to be Eureka X, because X-Death's in there. Oh, I love that. I truly love that. There's something so wonderfully wholesome about that.
Yeah.
Like, I could just imagine the girls' sleepover and X-Death is there. And they can't do his hair because he doesn't have hair. He's a monster tree in a mask. But still.
Well, he probably has leaves somewhere.
Yeah, Maybe they could style his horrible, grotesque Neo X-Death form, which is just this Cronenbergian body horror thing. Do you have anything else to say about this game?
I don't think so. I mean, the characters, there's a lot of them, but they have actually tried to give every character their own niche. It's quite impressive, actually. like every character seems to eventually get their own limit break equivalent that very fundamentally factors into how they play. Like off the top of my head, Ultima Shia, her skill that only she can use is one that just like gives you a ton of magic. So like you just put that and her best spells on her and wreck shit. A really fun one is Bart's, because Bart's special ability, so it's increase all of the user's stats by 150, which that's already fairly strong.
That would be broken in a proper JRPG.
But it also has the same trigger conditions as Mimic. So you can equip that skill, and then when you use it, anyone in the party who has Mimic will mimic the special and get 150 to everything themselves. And Bart has Mimic, so he can mimic his own special and get plus 300 to everything.
Okay, I was gonna ask if it actually if it stacked like that, or if it would stack like 150% times 150%, which would be like 225 versus...
It's plus 150, not a percentage.
Okay.
But also, like, it's something that the game explicitly points out. While just by leveling and using stat boosting items, you're capped to 999. Once you're in a stage, there is no stat cap, so you can just continue pumping as much buffs as you want if you have them.
Nice. I was laughing during your little thing, not because of anything you said, but because I'm on the wiki right now as we're recording on my phone, which means there's ads here, and guess what ad is at the bottom of the goddamn page?
Is it that thing you were talking about earlier?
It's fucking Queen's Blade Limit Break. Yes, it's fucking here. It's on the wiki now. It's fucking naked Egyptian anime girl winking at me. Why the hell is it here? My final thought on this is that Theatrhythm is everything I wanted Dissidia to be, which is a glorious celebration of Final Fantasy in the most adorable and comprehensive way, without pointless, idiotic, meaningless stories attached to it that make no sense and are endlessly frustrating.
Right. I should say that, this is part of the 35th anniversary thing celebrations. The 35th anniversary is still going and will probably still be going until at least Final Fantasy 16 is out in the middle of the year. That Final Fantasy X Kabuki thing, that's also part of the 35th anniversary celebrations. On that poster you had, it's got the 35th anniversary thing right in the top corner.
Oh, I did not realize.
Yeah.
Huh.
And originally, if you just looked at stuff that happened in the actual 35th anniversary in 2022, it seemed quite weak, because there was Stranger Paradise, which was good, but clearly not to everyone's tastes.
No.
And Chocobo GP, which was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
And that's about all they had ready for 2022 itself.
Well, that's the problem with modern gaming, is that when you want to make a game, it takes at least 5 years. If not usually 8 now. So, that reminds me, I had a thought recently, which is that, alright, it's now the year 2023, and I'm 32 years old. How many Square Enix games, how many mainline Final Fantasy games, if the series continues, will I see in my lifetime? And I think I thought that I'm never going to be able to see past, like, Final Fantasy 22. At their current pace.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing, because they have gotten slower. Like, things might pick up a bit now that Square has mostly abandoned the idea that they can make their own engines. Like, they technically can, and Final Fantasy 16's engine is actually in-house, but for a lot of stuff, they have transitioned to being an Unreal and Unity based company, which allows them to put out games faster than they were during the PS3 and PS4 days. So they might pick up a bit now, but it's still kind of sluggish compared to older efforts.
We're never going to have the PlayStation 1 era where you got Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 in like a 4-year period. It's never going to happen again.
Yeah.
No, that's like a 3-year period.
Hell, during the late PS1, early PS2 period, they actually managed to annualize the series for a bit. Like 9, 10, 11 all came out a year between each other. All 3 of those were announced on the same day, even.
I think it was actually 10, 11, and 12 were announced on the same. Or maybe I'm wrong. I think you are right, because they had that old Final Fantasy X logo that they didn't use.
Yeah.
But I know 12 was announced like 7 years before it actually came out.
Yeah, 12 pretty much tried to have close to HD level assets on the PS2, which that doesn't work.
No, I mean it did.
But it does mean that the Zodiac Age comes out very nice.
Yeah, and probably fix the fact that every single character in that game looks like they haven't slept for 3 weeks. That was a very interesting decision to give every single character gigantic circles under their eyes. Alright. SomeColorMage, I brought you here for a specific reason. You and Catuse, actually, have been promising me a gold mine of drama, or something, with Final Fantasy XIV.
Right. So, last month, I believe we mentioned the Omega Protocol, the most recent Ultimate Difficulty fight, and how it had already caused problems with some things that could potentially have been glitches, but probably haven't been since they didn't bother to fix it, and also that someone had leaked a late part of the fight, and yeah, the drama did not stop there. So first of all, someone managed to leak the very end of the fight early. They discovered a glitch that allowed them to play any cutscene, regardless of whether or not they'd actually unlocked it. And so someone did that and used it to post the ending cutscene of the Omega Protocol.
Okay, has anyone actually beaten Omega yet?
Yeah, yes, I'll get to that.
Okay.
So anyway, on January 31st, the end of the month, someone reported to clear. This is a Japanese group called Unnamed. Yes, that is the name. It's not an unnamed team. It is a team called Unnamed.
Okay.
Because and I'll go.
It's a very Kingdom Heartsy kind of vibe.
Yeah. So people were congratulating stuff. And then shortly afterwards, someone posted a video from Unnamed's progression, and it showed them using this mod that allowed them to zoom the camera out so far that you could see the entire arena at once. And so at this point, all hell broke loose. That is very much not allowed. Final Fantasy XIV is very strictly no mods. The reason for this is fairly obvious. It is in addition to being for PC, it is also PS4 and PS5, and all players are on the same servers, unless you live in China or South Korea. So they don't want PC players to have an unfair advantage. So mods are completely banned. But at the same time, they can't really enforce it in full because Yoshida refuses to put like strict integrity checking and such in the game, because that would make it run like shit and on weaker PCs, and he doesn't want that to happen. So basically, a lot of PC players agreed that if you just stick to like visual stuff and also don't try to rub it in Square Enix's face, then fine, you do you, whatever, we don't care. So using this to effectively cheat in an ultimate raid caused a hell of a lot of drama to happen, and basically shortly after this, members of Unnamed were already deleting their accounts because Japanese players are extremely fucking vindictive towards cheaters, they received a shit ton of harassment.
Oh, that's not cool.
So all of this stuff is happening, and about a day and a half later, Yoshida, who he doesn't say anything during World First races, he shows up, and he is really pissed. This is he's still being very diplomatic and executive like in this message he posted, but you can tell it's like the angriest he has ever been when working on this game. And like in addition to the Beetlejuice stuff, he says, well, we have already identified the glitch that allowed the cutscene to be leaked early, and we have already identified who did it and punished the person responsible.
Man.
We are going to track down the employee that posted leaks of the fight, and saying a firm punishment. Like this thing is written so angrily. I think Yoshida is actually going to kill this man if he finds him.
You know what? This is actually scary, because do you remember in school you had the mean teachers and you had the nice teachers? And the mean teachers, they were always fucking mean, and they were always angry. But then sometimes you and the other kids pissed off the nice teacher, and when the nice teacher got really mad at you and was yelling, that was so much scarier. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah. And like I said, third-party tools are not allowed. I know you people have this weird agreement among yourselves, but I have links to several videos of myself where I have said in no uncertain terms that these are completely forbidden. It's like he posted links to several videos of himself saying that. Yeah, and we are going to investigate the team that did the world first, and if we find out that they have been modding, like, I mean, obviously they knew they had been modding, but this is an announcement. We are going to enact penalties against them. If you keep doing this, we are going to stop making ultimates.
Oh. Man.
And
this is very unchill for what should be just like a fun challenge level.
Yeah, and like immediately after that, like the GMs just went straight to work. I don't think they banned the person who actually had the mods in the video in question, because I think he'd already deleted his account. But for the remaining players, like the GMs immediately caught them. You have not been caught modding, but you only cleared because of these mods. Therefore, we are undoing your clear. Your achievement has been revoked. Your title has been revoked. We can't revoke the weapon you won because of how the system works, but if you do not destroy the weapon yourself, you will find yourself right back here.
Man.
Yeah, and like in Yoshida's notes, there's something. Right. I'll just quote the ending of this because, it really is the angriest I've ever heard him. It is extremely disappointing for me personally to see this commotion surrounding third-party tools once again in wake of what happened with the Dragon Song's reprise. As the individual who is entrusted with full supervision over Final Fantasy XIV, it is my responsibility to enact countermeasures and police the use of these tools, as well as educate people not to use these types of third-party tools. This is especially unfortunate when I, as a gamer, am cheering on everyone who is learning this content by trial and error and putting in the effort to clear. Although unofficial, I am of course apprised of the race for the world first clear, and we have shown our support for everyone in the community by sharing information on the first clears once multiple clear teams came forth, and exact clear times had been confirmed. However, as announced in the previous statement, I think in this case he's talking about the Dragon Songs Reprise one, where they actually didn't congratulate any world first teams and instead put our statement about third-party tools, and then started banning a bunch of people who were showing off their mods on Twitter.
Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah.
And the only mod they used is just to be able to see the entire stage?
They used a few other things, but that's the most obvious.
Okay.
But yeah, so previous statement. I plan to refrain from doing so for the time being. We hear the community voice that an official raid race should be supported and regulations should be decided upon. This is a topic which needs to be discussed internally, so please allow me to keep this as an item for future consideration. The Ultimate Raid series is the most difficult battle content within Final Fantasy XIV, and we released this content after testing that it can be cleared without the use of any third-party tools. However, if the presumption is that this content will be tackled and cleared with the use of third-party tools, then any reason to develop high-difficulty battle content seems to be lost. It is very difficult for me to understand as a gamer what the meaning behind using numerous third-party tools to compete to clear first would be. I want to apologize specifically to the many of you who are continuing towards clearing this content and without the use of third-party tools, consistently streaming your progress and continuing the trial and error process. However, please note that the development and operation teams take notice of all of your passion. Please be sure to take proper care of yourselves as you continue to tackle the Omega Protocol. If the illicit use of third-party tools is made clear through our investigations, I, at the very least, will not recognize that team as the true world first.
Man.
And, yeah, like...
You know what?
He's very upset with this, and, like, it's understandable because nearly everything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
Uh-huh.
There was actually one glitch that they had to fix with the fight where a character's attack, where one of the phases, the Omega could attack before it was possible to actually set up the proper tanking for it, and just like randomly kill one of the other players.
So the fight was already harder than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, which they did fix, although not until after these clears had happened.
Okay.
But yeah, this is. There was eventually another team. So there's. The second team to finish was Neverland. They finished on the 1st of February. But nobody really trusted them because Neverland was one of the teams involved in the Dragon Song Reprise. Third-party tool stuff.
Well, SomeColorMage...
But they didn't get caught this time.
Well, I have here, actually, you missed some of Yoshi-P's statement. And I have a bit more. I have a bit more I found. Quote, "You cheated not only the game, but yourself. You didn't grow. You didn't improve. You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained. It's sad you don't know the difference."
It's a miracle he didn't post that, actually.
Yeah. He is online enough that I think he would have done that. It is kind of hysterical that he's like, as a gamer, I don't understand how you would not have no integrity at all. I mean, dude, people get tired of losing and are gonna go and take a shortcut eventually. At a certain point, you just want to go to fucking bed. You can't stay forever on the damn stage.
That's the community group that does the world first stuff, they recorded 8 clears. counting unnamed because unnamed never registered with them to begin with. But I think they probably just stopped counting since the world first race ended about a month ago.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well. That is hysterical. That is maybe the best Final Fantasy XIV story we've ever had. That makes the stupid billboard story sound like nothing. Do you remember the billboards?
There's the concept of Hell Channel, the thing I told you about before. I've mentioned before, right? That's mostly a channel on the Discord that Gavin created early on to just contain the Final Fantasy XIV ship posting to the people who actually play the game.
Yeah.
We currently actually call that channel Yoshi-P disapproves of your Zoom hack billboard.
Oh man. This is not on our Discord. What Discord is this?
It's on our Discord, it's just hidden.
Oh, okay. I don't even have access to that one. Or maybe it's hiding in Archives of Time?
No, it's hidden in the off-topic section. While the rights on the Discord server do very often glitch out, I think they do actually have it correctly configured that only people who are supposed to be able that have posting rights in the channel can read it.
Okay, maybe it's just that I don't play Final Fantasy XIV, so I'm not allowed in. I don't know.
Basically.
That's weird, because as a mod, I should probably be able to see in there. But you know what? That's fine. It's a whole other thing. Oh, man. I feel like, on the one hand, he is vastly taking this way too uncoolly, but also, this is a community event. It is like, like you set up this big gigantic party, and some people fucking spoiled it. I remember there was similar stories with Destiny. We had to solve some kind of puzzle, and some people did it wrong and screwed the whole thing up, and there was some exclusive cutscene that got opened that way. Not that I play any games like this. Yeah. So, SomeColorMage, when are you going to beat Omega? When are you going to report back your findings? Oops.
God, I can barely do Savage difficulty stuff.
I mean, you did play all of whatchamacallit, Stranger in Paradise.
Yeah, but I played it on the easy difficulty.
Oh, yeah, you cheated not only yourself, but the game, etc., etc.
Yeah, and I am doing the DLC stuff, but technically I'm cheating even harder to do that because, I think I mentioned this last time Stranger Paradise came up. For Chaos difficulty and harder, there's this thing called Extra Mode, which has you permanently in Jack's Super Mode, with whichever one you got equipped, because there's a few levels of it, and when you start the DLC, the first mission, not only can you not lose that, its rewards are a set of equipment that when equipped, they already have the right affinities for the ability that gives you invincibility while you're in Jack Super Mode.
Okay. Oh, so right. So you have basically an infinite going.
Yeah, you can just have infinite immunity as long as you're doing the extra mode stuff.
All right. Well, whatever it takes to beat the game.
But there's been too much other stuff to play.
I feel like at this point, gaming has evolved as an entire industry to where if people just want to see all the shit, people should just be allowed to see all the shit, no matter how little you want them to do it.
There was something that we discovered after recording the last podcast that Jack has then attacked its Final Fantasy Unlimited reference. Where he loads his gun with a soil charge triad and shoots Phoenix at the enemy.
Yeah, that was so cool. That is the coolest thing. All right, if anyone does not know, and maybe we have to do a whole episode on Final Fantasy Unlimited. That is the anime series from 2003-ish. It It was actually like one of the first Final Fantasy things I ever saw. Like, I watched this anime without having any real context for the series, so I didn't know how off it was, and it was extremely off. But the main hero of that show is this guy Kaze, and he has this system called Soil, where he'll go and grab 3 random bullets that all these colorful powders in them, and he'll throw them in his gun, and he'll shoot it, and he'll summon a thing. And every single episode, he has the same sequence, and it's so cool. He goes, "Soil is my power." And then I'll go and name his thing. It's like, "The glittering glow of eternity. Forever white." And then I'll go and load that thing. And then it'll say, "Come out, I summon you! Phoenix!" And then shoot it. And it was so goddamn cool. Show's not good, but I like that Magun thing. I've always wanted it to be a mechanic in a game. Anyway, I think we're out of things to talk about, right?
I think so, yeah. Unless there was something else you wanted to talk about. But I'm out.
You're out of stuff. I don't know. You want to talk politics?
Not on the podcast, no.
No. You want to talk about Harry Potter, the new video game?
God, no.
Yeah, exactly. Who the fuck would want to talk about that? You want to talk about the new, what's it called? Atomic Hearts? The game made that's funded by Russian oligarchs, and people are pissed off about that?
I don't even know what that fucking thing is. I just saw people talking about it once and immediately decided, you know what, that's not my problem. I'm going to move on, play some other games. The Nintendo Direct might not have had Final Fantasy stuff, but it did have a Metroid Prime remake. So I got that. It's fucking cool. Yeah. And I can ignore whatever weird fucking game that, the internet can't shut up about.
You know what? Here's my conclusion with all this, is that possibly the world's problems will not be solved on internet forums. Especially internet gaming forums.
Yeah.
And also, fuck J.K. Rowling. We can officially say that here. Alright. So that's the end of our episode. It's a shorter one, but I think short is good. I think getting it in a tight 80 minutes, sometimes that could be a good thing. So I was BlueHighwind. I was your host. SomeColorMage was also your host, but he was less of a host. I'm the main host. Would you agree on that?
The sub-host.
You're the sub-host. Yes. You're the host. You're the vice host. I am the Augustus. You are the Caesar. I guess I
did technically host one episode of this, so yeah, I am the vice host.
Yeah. I am the Augustus host. You're the Caesar host. When I pass away, you will take over this podcast, or when you have the guards kill me, whichever happens first. So the official wiki is called FinalFantasy.fandom.com. Go there. There's a lot of stuff. There's also ads for pervy anime games. I don't know if that's mostly a me problem, but it's a problem that's showing up more and more. This podcast updates...
And I can't tell if it's a problem because I don't approach this site without an ad blocker.
Well, I need to use my phone on this thing because I don't trust my computer to not melt down while I'm recording. So, I have to deal with this shit. I have Firefox on my phone, and you can install an ad blocker on that. You can get Firefox on an iPhone?
Oh yeah, there is. You can get the other browsers on iOS. However, they don't have their usual rendering engine because Apple demands that basically every browser be a wrapper for Safari. But I believe Firefox extensions do still work on the iOS version of it.
I'm not going to deal with that. I'll just suffer with the pervy anime ads. It's really not that bad of a problem. It's just funny to me. The music for this podcast is La Montana de los Jovenes Caballeros, which is the Mount Koltz music from Final Fantasy VI, as remixed by XPRTNovice off the Balance and Ruin OC Remix album, which is a fun listen. I've actually listened to the whole thing last month. It was actually a good time. We'll be back next month with something or another. Also, if you want to come talk to us, we have a Discord. I'm not actually sure what the hyperlink to that would be, but I'll put it in the episode description. Come hang out. We've recently we recently reorganized the place, so I think it's more usable.
Yeah, there is an invite link, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head, and even if I did, I'm not reading out a Discord URL in the podcast recording because it's just a bunch of random characters.
Yeah, I'll read it out for you. Discord.com/channel/35468 3241101. I lost it. All right, never mind. Ah, fuck. All right. You know what? Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you for listening.